The Mound Builders. This description by archaeologist James Adovasio gives you a peek at an early Native American ceremonial dance. The dance may have been performed at one of the mounds built by the early people in Ohio, or what is now Ohio. Adena shamans or priests wore antler heads, and a few may have even knocked out their upper front teeth so that they could have wolf jaws in their mouths when they appeared at the ceremonies. That is commitment. Mound builders performed religious ceremonies on the mounds they built. Okay. So now we're talking Adena people, right? Take a look where they came about. The Adena began building mounds. That's 500 BC, right? All right. The Adena culture appeared in the upper Ohio River Valley at around 800 BC. Some earlier people had begun to plant crops and store food, but the Adena people were Ohio's first real farmers. The Adena lived in small villages with related families. You might call them Ohio's first neighborhoods. Their homes were round domes made from wood or branches. The Adena grew crops and hunted deer, elk, and small animals. They also fished and ate nuts, squash, and sunflowers. Skilled Adena artists used tools like flint drills that, when twisted, were able to cut through wood, bones, and stone. They built dug-out canoes and made pottery woven clothes and beautiful jewelry from copper and pearls. To get these things, to get things they did not have, the Adena traded with other Native American groups. We do not know how they communicated with these other groups. Very little can be learned about the language the Adena spoke. Says one archaeologist, they left no written records of their speech. First earthworks. The Adena had a custom or common practice of burying their dead with stone tools and other items. They believed these items would help the dead on their journey to the next world. Early people buried the dead using piles of gravel. Beginning around 500 BC, the Adena built mounds or piles of earth made by humans, which were used as burial sites. Not all mounds were graves. The Adena built some mounds in the shape of birds and bears and other animals. These shapes could only be seen by standing high up on a hill, which I think is really cool, right? So right there, you'll do your compare and contrast. It says, in what ways were the Adena people different from other early Native Americans in Ohio? So you click this, and it'll take you to slide 3, which is right here. All right. Hopewell. So now here comes the Hopewell. I'm going to bring it up to, well, I guess we don't have, or that might be down at the bottom. There should be a, nope, that's it. All right, so we have the Hopewell. Look at the Adena sites. They're all in red, right? Then you had the Hopewell sites. They had quite a few, didn't they? Then Fort Ancient sites. All right, the Fort Ancient was a separate culture, right? Here we go. Historians or people who study the past are not sure what became of the Adena people. Some think that they were defeated by the Hopewell people, who also lived in the Ohio River Valley. Other historians think that the Hopewell were friendly and might have improved on the Adena way of life. Burial mounds on the Ohio farm show that the Hopewell culture began around 200 BC and peaked around AD 300. Like the Adena, the Hopewell made stone tools and built mounds, but they did it with one big exception, right? Bigger and better. The Hopewell were doing things a little bit bigger and grander than the Adena people, says archaeologist Bradley Lepper. They built bigger mounds, created finer artwork, and had stronger leaders. The Hopewell hunted and farmed while trade with other groups grew. They got silver from Canada, bear's teeth from the Rocky Mountains, and turtle shells from the Gulf of Mexico. That's pretty amazing. I mean, that spans the whole United States if you think about it, right, guys? All right. Hopewell ceremonies. Like most Native American groups, the Hopewell had their own religion. Religion is a way that people worship. The Hopewell believed their religious leader, or shaman, might cure certain sicknesses using plants. They also believed certain ceremonies or formal acts done at a special times would help hunters. Some mounds had religious meaning for the Hopewell. They used them as burial sites for shamans and group leaders. Other mounds were used as trading posts. Some mounds had religious meaning for the Hopewell. They used them as burial sites for shamans and group leaders. Other mounds were used as trading posts. Right? Isn't that crazy? That's pretty amazing stuff, isn't it? Village life. Hopewell people often built their villages near rivers where there was plenty of water. Families lived in domed homes made of wood and animal skins. A hole in the roof let out the smoke from their fire pits. In the fall, villagers left home to hunt and gather nuts, roots, and other food needed to last through the winter. Food ran low in the early spring, so that people left home again to find more food. Around 8400, North America's weather suddenly became much cooler. This long cold spell may have made it hard for the Hopewell to hunt. No one knows why, but the Hopewell culture began to weaken at this time. It eventually ended around 8500. Fort Ancient culture. By AD 1000, the Fort Ancient culture appeared in the Ohio River Valley. Fort Ancient's name came from a village that was built among a fort like group of Hopewell mounds. Fort Ancient people lived in rectangular or round houses in villages that surrounded a plaza. They learned how to grow corn, which became their most important crop. Corn had many uses and grew well in the rich soil of the Ohio River Valley. And it says right here, what did the Hopewell do better than the Adena? Right? And if you click on the link, right, if you click on this, oh, you just type right in here. Okay? All right. So there's that. All right, let's keep going. It says, growing population. Archaeologists believe that Ohio's population grew during the time of the Fort Ancient people. War among different groups also may have been on the rise. Fort Ancient people built fewer mounds, but the Great Serpent Mound near Peebles, Ohio, may have been a Fort Ancient mound. They eventually began burying their dead in cemeteries. The Fort Ancient people also bartered for food and furs for things like copper and shells. To barter means to trade goods or services for other goods and services without using money. Trade among the Fort Ancient people, however, was much less than that of the Adena or Hopewell. All right. So, how were the Hopewell people different from the Fort Ancient people, right? You're going to answer that one down here. These all have hyperlinks. So you click on those and you'll answer all these right here, okay? And so, there you have it. Okay, guys? All right, so I'm going to end it right here. If you want to follow